Boom. Let's start that again. So, welcome back to the main live broadcast for today. Um, if this is a good time for you, we could keep this going 6 p.m. Um, and if it's a good time for people to connect in and share their thoughts. So, I am going to start off today's broadcast with just a bit of lighthearted entertainment first. And bear with me for the moment because lots happening here, and controlling all of these little things at the same time is more too much work for one man. But I'm doing what I can. Um, so to start off with this little piece of entertaining a video. You might recognize the two players involved and the moment in question, but just with a little bit of a twist, comedic twist. So here we go. We'll start off with the baby debate.
It's in his golf course. I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play more than I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact?
Well, he wants to shut down this country, and I want to keep it open.
And we did a great job by shut it down.
Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same thing. Sarcastic.
That was
you know that. I was said sarcastic.
And so here's the deal. Increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think
the
masks
efficacy
are okay.
of
You have to
masks?
understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks.
Okay, let me ask.
I don't wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from me, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen. I will say this. He wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease.
Well, all right. Let's talk. We got a lot to unpack here, gentlemen.
But I'll tell you, Joe, you could never have done the job that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job.
Well, you didn't.
It's on the ballot in the
I
court.
don't think so.
In the court.
Well, there's nothing happening there.
Donald, would
And you don't know her.
Now,
You're gonna pack the
make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know.
He doesn't
You're
want
a
to answer the
senator.
question.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would
because,
you answer that
because
question?
the
You wanna
question
put a lot
is,
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is,
justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is
up,
on,
man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
right.
Gentlemen,
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here standing facing you, old buddy.
Pocahontas would have left 2 days
I tell
early. You would have lost every prize.
All he knows how to
on
do
Super
is
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well.
Mr. President, can you let him finish, sir?
He doesn't know how to do that.
He has. You'd be surprised.
You pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy, the wrong
Joe,
night at
no.
the wrong time.
Listen, you give
Number
him better
three.
health care at a much lower price because
by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a plan.
fixed it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably does.
Gentlemen, you realize if you're both speaking at the same time.
And it's too
Let the president. Go ahead, sir.
Obamacare. Understand, Joe?
They sure did.
47 years you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject, so let's try to be serious about it.
It's China's fault. It should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about numbers, you don't know how many people died in China. Many of your Democrat governors said, President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look. The governors said I did a phenomenal job. Most of them said that. No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But let me just tell you something. I don't care. I've gotten used to it.
And by the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it.
This is the same thing. Sarcastic.
That was
you
it.
know that. I would have said sarcastic.
And so here's the deal.
Let him finish.
You believe for a moment what he's telling you, in light of all the lies he's told you about, unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
And if you would have had, let me just... If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again.
He's going to get to the economy in the next segment, sir.
Okay.
We're just gonna say it like it is. That was a shit show.
And discuss.
Well, that was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed that. So, as I was saying, this is just keeping this lighthearted. Well, as lighthearted as it can be, with all of the mess that's going on in the world at the moment. But say hello if you're there. Say something in the comments. Share your thoughts, and yeah. So I'm going to be here for the next maybe 20 minutes or so. Share a few more pieces with you guys. If you want to share your thoughts and opinions, feel free to do so in the comments, and I can bring those up on the screen as well. If you have any other videos or articles of interest, feel free to share those as well. But there is one thing that I've noticed myself, okay, and that is one thing that Trump mentioned there, which is the fact that the media are, they gave him such a hard time, and they've been doing so since the very beginning. And from day one, basically, and they've been out. It's been a witch hunt, really. It has. But I just want to show you guys what. Just give you an example, because I just noticed this the other day. 1 second now. So bring this up. Okay. So I just noticed this. Hey, Patsy. We can bring this up. Technology at its finest. Check this out. All right. Well done. Hello from Ireland. Greetings. So this is all new technology for me as well. Really appreciate you being here and taking part and giving me your time. So again, this is early days, just getting used to the technology, getting comfortable with being on the camera and all of this stuff. But this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while myself, and eventually got around to setting it up. But I really appreciate you being here. Thanks again, Patty. Put up the other message. There we go. Thank you. So I'm in Ireland myself. But if whoever else is there as well, say hello. Say tell us where you're from, where you're tuning in from. We had someone from Australia yesterday, and Ireland, and I think America as well. But could you see this okay on the screen? This is what I noticed yesterday. Okay, 1 second. Where are we going? So. Okay. So, it's this whole thing of, if you notice there, everything that Trump is posting is like, they've got claims and disputes and all this stuff. Okay. Any sort of mention about anything to do with the election at all, it's all claims and disputes and frauds. One thing that kind of made me laugh This one was, he said, and I won the election, voter fraud all over the country. And then they said multiple sources call this election differently. Multiple sources. But this is the thing, okay? So like, he's there. This is the president of their country, okay? He's saying these things, and like, first of all, people calling him like a dictator and a fascist. If he was a dictator or a fascist, they would not have the freedom to say what they say, okay? But so they put all these sort of blocks and disputes on everything he says, okay? But then if you go over to Joke Biden's page, okay, president-elect, he has that there, and there's no disputes. Honored that you chose me to lead your country. Like, it is a fact that Joke Biden hasn't been elected yet, okay? That's a simple fact. But none of his posts have been flagged or disputed or marked. Why do you think that is? I just thought that was an interesting point of note. So let me see, what else do we have here? Okay, let's see what Tucker has to say on Cuomo. If you guys have any interesting articles or videos, feel free to share them on the in the comments as well, and we can have a look at them here. Okay. So
months, this crisis has been mismanaged in a way that no crisis in our recent history has ever been. But you know who did it? You know who's at fault? You know who we're blaming? You. Yesterday, New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo explained just how culpable you really are for this disaster.
We will make mistakes in life. We try not to, but we do. The key is to be strong and secure enough to admit your mistakes and admit your shortcomings. Don't get defensive. Denying the mistake only assures repeating the mistake. We have made mistakes during COVID. I wrote a book on the lessons to be learned from the COVID crisis.
I mean, admit your mistakes, says the thinnest-skinned politician in American history, a man who was constitutionally incapable of admitting his own mistakes. Ask anyone who knows the governor of New York. Admit your mistakes? Self-awareness has died along with a lot of people in New York State. At the same time, Tony Fauci is telling us that masks may be necessary forever, even after we have a coronavirus vaccine.
it's the second time I did that today. Forgot to turn the mic on. But what do you think of the whole mask wearing situation and the vaccines? Are you for or against? Don't mind either way. No thoughts on it. How do you feel? I'm just getting another video lined up for you here. But yeah, here we go.
And let's show you from the NAACP in Michigan. It was a wild night in Michigan yesterday in a specific county in Detroit there as a certification update. For a moment last night, they would not certify the election in that county, and then hours later, reversing course here, and we're going to give you the update on why that all happened. This was coming out of Michigan's Wayne County certification, the deadlock leading to a unanimous certification after allegations of racism happened here. So it was a wild and crazy night. Let's break it all down for you right here on News Now from Fox. Jenna Ellis, a senior legal advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign, told Fox News at night yesterday that the two Republicans on Michigan's Wayne County Board of Canvassers involved in a brief deadlock in the county's election certification process face threats and allegations of racism before they agreed to certify the ballots. Their decision to side with their Democratic colleagues was dramatic and viewed by conservatives on social media as just a laydown after a brutal 2-hour public pressure campaign. Ellis told Shannon Bream, the host of the show, that she received reports that these two board members correctly spotted discrepancies, and she said that the ballot counts in 71% of the county's precincts do not match voter rolls. That's significant, she said. That doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican.
Where are you tuning in from?
Concerned about that. Kayleigh McEnany, Trump's White House press secretary, announced earlier on Twitter that there were 234 pages of sworn affidavits that raised allegations of fraud in the county. Also tweeting out was the GOP Michigan Senate candidate James, saying that I applaud the Wayne County Board.
I appreciate you being here, though. Thank you very much. So I'm just Cornwall, very good. I'm just testing out this technology, putting this together. This is very early days. This is kind of the very first sort of broadcast, I'd say. I had just been dipping my toes in the water over the last couple of days. I'll make sure the mic is on again. Yeah. But yeah, so just going through the usual teething problems and stuff with setting up new technology. But I hope to be covering lots of different things as time goes on. Usually around the elections, especially the US election, I do sort of get into it and things get a bit more sort of political based, but it's not always like that. This page was I appreciate you being here. But this page is supposed to cover everything, but at the moment, I think these whole elections are it the same way as COVID. It's kind of like shining a light on the system and the way things are. Do you have any thoughts on the situation over in the States yourself? So again, welcome everybody. Trump has won by a landslide. Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it's crazy the way things have gone on over there. Again, from the very beginning, there's so much to unpack, but he may sit down. Yeah, it would be unfortunate if he does. I am still keeping the faith and maintaining hope. I would definitely like to see him stay on for another 4 years. And again, there's so many areas of why this election was terrible, but not least being the fact that they just went at him so ridiculously strong, ridiculously hard from the very beginning, with the whole Russiagate thing, and then the FBI hitting him, with the spying on him. All this stuff is crazy, crazy stuff to do to a president, and they basically, in a sense, tried to slow him down and I guess distract him, from the work. But I think even with all of that, he got so much done still, and that's what I like about him as well. He didn't get tied up in the politics, um, but I definitely would like to see him with another 4 years unhindered. That's the thing. So I'd love then if this does bring out all of the corruption and scandal, and then we have like 4 years without them hanging around his legs and trying to pull him down. Um, yeah, it's easy to see it going either way. Yeah, what I think is crazy as well is I think what's crazy is the power of the mainstream media and how easily people are fooled by it. And you can see it now at the moment where even still, like, people are falling for the same old scheme, okay, where they're the media are basically building up this narrative, and that's getting the left all happy and jolly, but it's very frail, okay, and so that they're setting up the scene. So then when he gets reelected, that will set the scene then for chaos to break loose. Um, but that's what the media does. It plays on people's emotions. So Russell J. Gould. Who is this Russell J. Gould? I'll have to inquire more or research that later on. Yes, I like this the new technology. It's nice to be able to interact with you guys, and yeah, hopefully, I really hope, because if that does happen, then truth will prevail, and that will give me some hope for the future. Yes, okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm just gonna look for another video here. Look him up on war castles. I most certainly will. Russell J. Gould. Breaking news: Russell J. Gould announces he is coming forward as Postmaster General of the World, Commander-in-Chief and Chief Judge of the Supreme Court in correctness this 2020 election. Who is this man? Okay. 1 second now. Bear with me. Because when you're doing live, it eats up the resources for of the computer. Handle with fair, fixing a broken international postal system. Okay. Here is a very short clip then of Russell. Boom. See what this is about.
For the University of California, and it's time for all of our family students, faculty, alumni, all to join in the voice that's calling on Sacramento to stand up for UC. We've had enough cuts. We do not want additional cuts in this year's budget. We're looking for leadership from the governor and the legislature to recognize the value that UC is long-term. So we need for you, if you've called, that's terrific. Call again. And if you haven't called, take advantage of the opportunity. Let the legislature and the governor know the importance of UC for the future.
Very interesting. I will definitely be looking into that further. Here is actor, is it John Voight? Saying why we need to fight for the president.
Americans.
Thank you, Angela. I really appreciate you being here. Have a good call. Thank you.
I stand here with all that feel as I do, disgusted with this lie that Biden has been chosen. As if we all don't know the truth. And when one tries to deceive, we know that one can't get away with it. There will be a price to pay. The ones who are jumping for joy now are jumping toward the horror they will be in for, because I know that the promises being made from the left to the American people will never come to be. My friends of all colors, races, and religions, this is now our greatest fight since the Civil War. The battle of righteousness versus Satan. Yes, Satan. Because these leftists are evil, corrupt, and they want to tear down this nation. We must not allow this. We must fight this corruption that has taken over and fight for the good that seems lost. Let us give our trust to God and fight now for Trump's victory, because we all know this ballot count is corruption like they are. So let us not back down. Let us fight this fight as if it is our last fight on earth. As Muhammad Ali said, it's not over till the last punch you have. God bless.
So now, what do you make of that? Interesting time, folks. Interesting times. So I have one more video for you. This is just on Kamala's was it the communist video? This is one man's take on it. So I think it's Sowell. Is that how you pronounce it? But yeah, I'll play another video then before I go, and we'll finish up. But I just want to say I really appreciate you, all you guys being here, joining me for the live, and we will wrap this up shortly now. Okay. So.
If you can't be born to the same parents and raised under the same roof, why in the world would you think you're going to get it among people who've had such different histories and cultures around the world?
So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests, oh, everyone should get the same amount. The problem with that, not everybody's starting out from the same place. So if we're all getting the same amount, but you started out back there and I started out over here, we can get the same amount, but you're still going to be that far back behind me.
Well, this is one of any number of one-factor explanations as to why everyone doesn't have the same outcome. 100 years ago, it was genetics. At other times and places, it was exploitation. But again, these are ideas that sound plausible. But when you do research, you discover that everywhere you turn, there are 1,000 reasons why people don't turn out the same. It goes right down to the family. In the first chapter of this book, I point out that the firstborn has higher IQs than his siblings. And in later life has more achievements. Among astronauts, for example, of the 29 astronauts in the Apollo program that put a man on the moon, 22 were either the firstborn or an only child. Now, if you can't get equality among people born to the same parents and raised under the same roof, why in the world would you think you're going to get it among people who've had such different histories and cultures around the world? Almost nowhere, anywhere in the world, or at any period of history, do you find any society in which groups that compete openly end up with the same results.
You continue to hear politicians using statistics, sort of cherry-picking statistics in order to form economic policies where the government gets directly involved. They always do it under the guise of social justice. It seems like anything that is led by the phrase social justice can be accepted by these people.
Yes, and I guess one of the crucial assumptions of the social justice literature is that in the absence of bias, people would be similar, but they're not similar. They're not demographically similar. I mean, for example, the median age of Jewish Americans, Mormons, and Japanese Americans is around 50. There's no way they're going to be equally represented in proportion to their proportion of the society in the National Football League. I mean, 50-year-olds are not going to be able to compete with people in their 20s. I can come up with umpteen different examples of this disparities in various situations, including situations where it is not possible for it to be either discrimination or genetics. People on the other side cannot give you one example. You can read reams of paper by advocates of social justice and not find one example anywhere in the world. There are people who've done international studies. Braudel, I quote, the French historian. He said, in no society has all parts of the population had the same outcomes.
It's about giving people the resources and the support they need so that everyone can be on equal footing and then compete on equal footing. Equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place.
Are goals like economic equality or economic opportunity, racial equality, are those good goals for a nation?
If you mean by equality of opportunity, yes. If you mean any belief that you're going to get the same end results, the answer is no. What those kinds of goals do is simply tear a society apart, often making all the groups in it worse off than they would have been otherwise. It's sad, affirmative action in academia, for example, takes minority students and mismatches them with institutions. For example, when I was at Cornell, the average black student enrolled at Cornell at that time scored at the 75th percentile on the SATs. The average white student in liberal arts at Cornell at that time scored at the 99th percentile. Half the black students were on academic probation. In other words, you had kids who would have been on the dean's list at most of the colleges in this country, but they were sent to colleges where they were virtually guaranteed not to make it.
When you talk about cosmic justice in intellectuals and race, what do you mean by that?
I guess I mean what some people mean by social justice, which is justice for groups, an initial opportunity to have the same life chances. But I call it cosmic justice because no society is able to do that or has ever done that in any country. And so what you're asking for is for life chances to be the same. When you think of all the differences, it's virtually impossible. you know, some kids are maybe raised in families that are the same economic level, but one family will have one set of attitudes toward education, and the other will not. And the one who's in the family that does not have that same attitude, he may be a fine fellow, he may be bright, all of that. He doesn't have the same chance. There's almost no way he could have the same chance.
Why is this misused? Is it because so often these statistics, in order to force these economic policies that don't work, is it because politicians extend their term in office? Is it because of the poverty industry, if you will, that exists? What do you think motivates people to do these things that clearly are not benefiting our society or our economy?
Well, these are things that are benefiting them. Politicians stay in office by saying things that people want to hear and by not accepting evidence that shows that they've gone wrong.
Those of you with high blood pressure. Amid widespread reports of voter irregularity and possible voter fraud, President Trump's team is naturally investigating the results of the 2020 presidential election. You know, for any funny business, because it's the left. Yeah, we know what you guys are up to. Well, Whoopi Goldberg and others on the left want to rewrite history and tell us that, well, we just need to behave exactly as they did in 2016 when Donald Trump was elected president.
Now, I want to bring something up right now. I want to say to all those people who don't believe that Americans actually got out and voted, let me say this to you. When you know who was elected 4 years ago, you know, Hillary Clinton didn't say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, stop the count. She didn't say, this isn't right, I'm not going for it. She didn't say any of that. So all of you, suck it up. Suck it up like we sucked it up. And if you are not sure that you're comfortable with Joe Biden, do what we did. Find things and then take it to the law. And if the law says it's something to look at it. But from now on, suck it up. Grow the pair for him that he can't grow for himself. Because this is ridiculous. You're not sure that he won. You're bringing into question all these Americans who voted legally, came out and stood and voted. How dare you question it?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Do you mean like this?
Hillary Clinton didn't say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, stop the count.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president.
She didn't say, this isn't right, I'm not going for it. She didn't say any of that.
You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
So all of you, suck it up.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama.
Suck it up like we sucked it up. And if you are not sure that you're comfortable with Joe Biden, do what we did. Find things and then take it to the law. And if the law says it's something to look at it. But from now on, suck it up.
Never say his name.
I don't.
Why?
I can't.
You recognize that he is the president.
He's there. Grow the pair for him that he can't grow for himself. Because this is ridiculous. You're not sure that he won. You're bringing into question all these Americans who voted legally, came out and stood and voted.
Not my president! Not my president! Not my president!
How dare you question it?
Well, hey, I guess Joe Biden's not the only one in the Democratic Party who can't remember worth a shit.
What's up, everybody? Don't forget to follow and like my page. You can find me all over social media at Sarah Gonzalez TX.
So, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Just piecing things together here. Still in the early stages. So as time goes on and I get more used to the technology, get more comfortable with the system and the setup here, and we'll have a bit more discussion going on as well. Really like when you guys interact as well. share your thoughts in the comments and all that. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me. And just so you know, that is my buddy Banana Merly, and this is not real. Just in case we have any authorities out there watching, that is a replica, a non-functioning BB gun, but I got it years ago for as a prop for a short film. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, even if you're watching this video later. If you have any other interesting articles or videos, or points of note or topics, all this stuff, feel free to share those as well in the comments or send a message to the page. So I will wrap it up there, and I would just like to say once more, thank you very much for joining me, and stay strong, stay safe, and keep the faith. We shall overcome.